out from underneath my feet. Between black skies and red eyes, I can barely see. When I realize I've been sold out by my friends and family, I can feel the rain reminding me. In the eye of the storm, you remain in control. In the middle of the war, you guard my soul. You alone are the anchor when the sails are torn. Your love surrounds me in the eye of the storm. When the hopes and dreams far from me, running out of faith. When the future I pictured slowly fade away. When the tears of pain and heartache pouring down my face, I find my peace, Jesus' name. In the eye of the storm, you remain in control. In the middle of the war, you guard my soul. You alone are the anchor when the sails are torn. Your love surrounds me in the eye of the storm. When they let me go, just don't know how I'm gonna against me. When I did my best, I'm scared to death. Might never let thing. When my sickness takes my child away, and there's nothing I can do, I only trust in you. I trust you, Lord, in the eye of the storm. You remain in control. In the middle of the war, you guard my soul. You alone are the anchor when the sails are low. Your love surrounds me in the eye of the storm. In the eye of the storm, you remain in control. In the middle of the war, you can guard my soul. You alone are the anchor when the sails are low. Your love surrounds me in the eye of the storm. Your love surrounds me in the eye of the storm. Woo! Did we go through the storm? Thank you, Jesus, for no storm tonight. Yes, you know, we serve a great God, and the old favorite is how great is our God. You know, we showed up tonight and on faith, and hopefully that there was no bad weather, and look what happened. Thank you, Jesus. Well, it's the splendor of the King, when clothed in majesty. Let all the earth rejoice, all the earth rejoice. He wraps himself in light, and darkness tries to hide. Trembles at his voice, trembles at his voice. How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God? And all will see how great is our God. Oh, clothed in majesty, and all the earth rejoice, all the earth rejoice. He wraps himself in light, and darkness tries to hide. Tremble at his voice, tremble at his voice. How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God, and all will see how great is our God. Oh, age to see His hands, and time is in His hand, beginning and the end, beginning and the end. Oh, Godhead, three in one. Oh, Father, Spirit, and Son, the Lion and the Lamb, the Lion and the Lamb. How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God? And all will sing how great is our God. Oh, the name above all names, worthy of all praise. My heart will sing how great is our God. Oh, the name above all names, worthy of all praise. Oh, my heart will sing how great is our God. How great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. All will see how great is our God. How great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. And all will see how great is our God. Oh, the name above all names, worthy of all praise. My heart will sing how great is our God. How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God? And all will sing how great is our God. How many of y'all go to church? How many of you heard that song before? Every version of it, right? You know why we sing that song? Because we all remember the words. Is it hard? How great? Can y'all sing the last verse? Here we go again. It's because the words are easy, is why I play it. G, C. That's why I play it. How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God? And all will sing how great is our God. Let me hear you. And how great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God? And all will sing how great is our God. Now this next song, you're not going to be able to sit down very long, because we're fixing to show you how the battle's won, all right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many of y'all play the guitar? Nobody? When darkness tries to roll over my bones, when sorrow comes to steal joy I want, when brokenness and pain all I know, I won't be shaken, I won't be shaken. Oh, my fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. Oh, shame, hunger is a place to hide. I'm not a captive to the lies. I'm not afraid to leave my past behind. I won't be shaken. I won't be shaken. Fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. Power that can break off every chain. The power that can empty out the grave. Oh, the resurrection power that can save. Power in His name. Power in His name. Oh, the power that can break off every chain. Oh, the power that can empty out the grave. Oh, the resurrection power that can save. Power in His name. Power in His name. Fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. Lord, I'm standing on the rock. Yeah, I'm standing in your love. I'm standing on the rock. Oh, I'm standing in your love. Are y'all ready? This is the way we fight a battle. This is the way we fight a battle. This is the way we fight a battle. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is the way we fight a battle. This is the way we fight a battle. This is the way we fight a battle. Yes, Lord. Oh, this is the way we fight a battle. Put your hands together, yes. This is the way we fight a battle. 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 Come on now. Oh, this is the way we fight a battle. 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 Yeah, 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 yeah. This is the way we fight a battle. This is the way we fight a battle. This is the way we fight a battle. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, my fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. Oh. Y'all ready? This is the way we fight a battle. 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 I can't hear you. The way we fight a battle. This is the way we fight a battle. way we fight a battle. This is the way we fight a battle. This is the way we fight a battle. The way we fight a battle. This is the way we fight a battle. Yeah. This is the way we fight a battle. This is the way we fight a battle. This is the way we fight a battle. Yeah. Thank you, Jesus. Woo! Come up here, Carrie. I want you to know I've known this girl for 3 years, and I've never heard her say anything bad about anybody, and she always corrects me too. I don't say things bad, but sometimes they ain't always nice. So she always wants to make it positive. I want to tell a story on her. Just an easy one. We were tell you how she says good things. Okay. Oh, I keep thinking I'm using this one. You're on this one.
Okay.
I had two microphones.
I'll never know what he's gonna say.
Can you turn this on? We were at this rent house, and there was this elm tree out in front, and it was one of those trees that had been cut off, and all it had was a ball on top. Y'all seen those? Okay, I don't know where I'm at, but it was ugly. Okay, and my son had brought his truck over, and we were going to cut this tree down, but we were trying to make it where it was pretty. You know, we weren't going to cut the whole thing down. We're just going to trim it and kind of make it pretty. And we were having Carrie stand over in the front yard. Now, Carrie, tell us which branch is going to make it look better. And this is the first time we've never heard her say anything. She could not think of something. She was really trying to figure out how she could make that tree look better. And she was really, well, you know, it would look better if and she was making up stuff. My son started laughing because he had never heard her without words. Because she could not say anything nice about that ugly tree because it was ugly. So we cut the tree off. So anyway, it's all yours, girl. This is your dream. Today is your dream. This is her dream today, if y'all didn't know that.
Is that working? Can you hear it?
Yeah, give her a little bit more gain or something. Or whatever. Let me get this book all the way. Where's your book at? Okay. Careful, this thing is dumping on the ground. Do you want a microphone? Or do you want this headset?
Testing? Can y'all hear good? Okay. This is going to be different for me because I'm not used to a microphone. I'm excited that so many of y'all decided to come. At first we were just going to kind of do a little class in the barn, and then I kept getting more and more RSVP, so then I just kept putting more and more invites out because I thought, well, if we're going to have to do it outside, we will. I tried to originally get this in the church, but it's been hard to get things orchestrated to do that, and so especially when I found out there were more people that were wanting to do it. But this is going to be a real different kind of weight loss program. Y'all probably weren't expecting what you came up to, to get to hear some praise and worship. But there's a reason for that, and I wanted to make sure that the atmosphere was set for everybody to come here and have your mind just at ease so that you could be comfortable and so that we can get into the presence of peace, because a lot of the reasons that we carry extra weight and that we have trouble with the journey of trying to lose weight is because it's a lot of things that are in the mind and things. Am I getting too far away, or can y'all hear me? I'm good. Okay. I'll get used to it here in a few minutes. But it's in our minds and our mindsets, and so things during the day that will attack us, and I'm going to do everything I told you that I was going to do. You're going to get a meal plan tonight. I'm going to, here in a little bit, I'm going to break this up into sections. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the different parts of weight loss. And then whenever I get finished with that, we'll get packets for everybody so that you'll have a meal plan. And I've got notebook paper. If you didn't bring any notebooks, I didn't tell y'all to bring anything. And so I've got it for you, and pens so that you can take notes on things that are really important and that you can make this successful, because it's not a regular diet. This is a lifestyle. I've been doing this for 13 years. And so, and I had a hard time. I've had my ups and downs, and the biggest part of it is going to start. It's going to be in your mind, and that's why, you know, I told a lot of people that have been texting me and messaging me or getting on my page, and you know, in the little videos that I've put up. I've I'm not. Is it not good enough, Ken?
Put it. We're trying to get it on video, so put it in.
Okay, I might, the headset might be a little bit easier, I don't know, we'll see here in a minute, but, oh gosh, let me collect back where I was at. Anyways, I've been trying to just, to let everybody know that, you know, this is not an overnight event, and so one session of this, yeah, I'll be here for the long haul, you know, if y'all wanna keep doing this, I'll be here on Sundays, and I'll do it as long as we need to get this down, because even within the first 4 or 5 years that I was really focusing on losing my weight and getting down to a good size, I would still yo-yo, and I would go up and down, and even put on at one time about 35 pounds of my weight back on. And so what I figured out over the course of it is actually a lot. It's a lot about the mind, and that's why I don't want to ignore that part, because in a lot of programs, you'll go in and you get the diet plan and you get the workout plan, and it'll work for a little while, but it always ends up going back, because you have to get your mind and your heart corrected, because if you don't have that fixed, it's going to be a never-ending battle. Have y'all just struggled with weight for, how many of y'all would raise your hand and say years? And how many of y'all have done a ton of different things for years? Yes, me too. And so there's a reason why, and there's roots. And once we get those roots located and you can pull them out, you don't have to fight that so much. And so this is really interesting. One second. I've been so excited about doing this that I've just got scrambled notes. Y'all come on, and if you want a tea, there's tea right over on the table. And just have a seat and get comfortable.
Over here.
But guys, one thing that I'll tell y'all is, and well, I want to tell you first, and that reminded me of them coming up. If anybody needs to use the restroom, don't feel uncomfortable to get up and go do that. You just walk through the door. The living room is to your right, and there's a bathroom right off of there. So y'all are welcome to go in if you need to do that. But this is really interesting. But I've studied all sides of this, because weight loss is not just physical. It's spiritual, it's emotional, and it's physical. And so it's got 3 parts to it. This is WebMD, and this is through a lot of medical stuff that I've researched a lot of this, but I'm just going to read to you what they say about overeating and obesity. They're now recognized as a chronic complex disease. It's also referred to as a food addiction, and that's what WebMD says. The idea that you can be addicted to food has recently gained increasing support. That comes from brain imagery and other studies of the effects of compulsive overeating on pleasure centers in the brain. Experiments in animals and humans show that for some people, the same reward and pleasure centers in the brain that are triggered by addictive drugs, like cocaine and heroin, are also activated by food, especially highly palatable foods rich in, and y'all, whenever we get to the meal plans, if I don't remember to tell you this, remind me, because this is something y'all are going to need to write down. Sugar, fat, and salt. Like addictive drugs, highly palatable foods trigger feel-good brain chemicals, including dopamine. So that tells you right there that physically, it's really, really close to the same thing as a drug addiction. And that's the reason why we're going to do this in 3 parts, because I want to make sure that we're hitting our mind. I actually had a lady that I was helping lose weight, and that's kind of where Ken said that it was my dream to do this. I've watched people that I've helped that end up yo-yoing, and it's not because the meal plans aren't good, because the meal plans that I have, I like to just call them a healthy lifestyle. I've been doing it for 13 years, and I don't get tired of them, because you can go and eat anywhere, and you can still enjoy eating with other people. And it's just simple things like maybe pulling one type of carb that's in it, like a burger. You can have a hamburger, and we'll get to more of this. I don't want to get off track, so I'm good at doing that. You can have those things. You just have to remove parts of it. And this right here is going to give you all a real good idea of things that will stop you in your tracks when you want to eat, and remind you that maybe there's something more going on the inside. So kind of in the side of it that goes with the mind, What you focus on will grow. And so we have to be really protective of our hearts. And God's word talks a lot about protecting our hearts. It's the wellspring of life, because where the mind goes, the man will follow. And what happens is we'll get something in our mind, and then it goes, look, Satan attacks in the mind. The Bible is real clear about that. We war not against flesh and blood, but principalities and rulers in the heavenly places. And Satan hates you. He hates you. He hates you. He hates me. And if he can take you out in any way, he will. And obesity and being overweight is a way that he can take you out. I know that because I struggled with it. And it also will it will get you being overweight and struggling with obesity. I know for me, there were a lot of things that I wouldn't do anymore whenever I was great big. I did not want to go in the store. I would send my kids in because I was embarrassed. I didn't want to see people I hadn't seen in a long time because I was embarrassed. And that's how he works on us. He wants to take us out so that we're not effective for the kingdom. We're not effective for other people. And so it's not just a quick diet thing. It's a mind thing. And that's why this particular program is going to take us some time to go through. And I hope that y'all will take the time to go through this, because without that transformation, you'll backtrack. And the lady I was talking about that I had worked so hard with, and the other ones at Yo-Yo, she lost all her weight, did great, was doing good, but she had slipped into drinking because she was using that as her source instead of food. She figured out that she would hit those same receptors in her brain to get the comfort that she needed from what was going on here and going into here. And so the last time I knew, she was a pretty heavy alcoholic, which actually, is just as dangerous, if not more. They both are. I don't know which one is worse, obesity or the other addictions. They're both bad. It just manifests physically in a different way. It's the same principles. And that's why we're going to do this program in the way that we do mind to heart to spirit, because they're all connected. Every bit of it's connected. What goes on in your mind is going to go to your heart, and what goes on, physically, that can affect your mind and your emotions. So I'm going to divide it up to where we do some of this at the beginning, and tonight's more instructional, but I'm going to do at the beginning where we can deal with things that go on in our mind. And then the second part of this is going to be talking about food and meal plans. And I want to share with y'all my whole journey. So as long as y'all are in and you keep coming, we can go over. I get a lot of questions on things like waist training. That's the biggest one I get, because my stomach was huge. A lot of y'all, I guess all of y'all have probably seen my before pictures, but it was so big I had to have a foot of skin removed. So I'm open to talking about anything in this program that anybody has questions about. Surgeries, all of it. We can talk about all of the things, the pros and cons, as we go, because I want y'all to have the success that I've had and the freedom that I've had in this area. And it's one of the reasons I'm doing it. It is a dream of mine, because I hate going and seeing people overweight. It really makes, now whenever I see somebody that's overweight, I remember being so cynical years ago when I would see someone that was overweight before I struggled with weight. And I would just think they're lazy, or they're slothful, or they're this or that, and I did not have good feelings about it until I did that journey myself and carried weight around for 8 years. That will change your perspective real quick. Understanding is a big deal, because you can't help people unless you understand. And there's a lot of trainers, and I'm not putting down any kind of trainers, but there's a lot of trainers that have not gone through the journey of being heavy. They've been fit their whole life, and so they don't quite understand where you're at. I understand where you're at, and I know the mind things that go on, and they get worse and worse. And that's why we're going to really focus here on mind. A couple of things that we're gonna really address. The first one is so important, and it's that scripture that we war not against flesh and blood, but principalities and rulers, because we have an enemy, the devil, and he prowls around like a lion just waiting for somebody to devour. And like I said, he hates y'all and he hates me. He hates anybody that's created by God, and we are all God's creation. When you see a heavy person walking around, they're being attacked. Say a prayer for them. They're under the same attack that everybody's been under, because any human that's born, Satan wants to take them out however he can, be it through an addiction that's different than food, or be it through a food addiction. That's what he wants to do, is to take you out so you're not effective. And eventually, he comes to steal, kill, and destroy. So eventually, he just wants to kill you out. One of the big things that we're going to talk about is how powerful our words are. The Bible says that life and death are in the power of the tongue. And I'm going to go back to, I have so much I want to, kid knows, I've been writing because there's so much that I've journeyed through this. And just a lot of things that will help you. But Proverbs 18:21. I'm going to read this. This is the Amplified Bible. It's the life and death are in the power of the tongue. If you don't know what that is, I do parallel studies where you use different versions of the Bible, because it really unfolds and opens up new meaning to a lot of scriptures. And I love two of the versions of this one that are out. And the Amplified Bible says, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it and indulge in it will eat its fruit and bear the consequences of their words. So right there, the scripture is telling us that the things that we say will make it or break it. So you have to be and that's, that's funny, Ken was saying about, I really do try to find something positive in everything. Because, God will work all things to the good of them who love him and who are called according to his purpose. And sometimes that's hard when you're in the middle of the mud, to see that God will work things to the good. But the minute that you open your mouth and say something negative, you'll probably end up feeling negative or getting negative or attracting negative, because we attract this. It's a spiritual principle. We attract what's inside. So if your mind is constantly on negative thoughts, and you're I just call it entertaining demons, and we've all done it. Have you ever had a pity party? Anybody sit in your pity party? Nobody likes them, but sometimes it feels good to sit in a pity party for a minute. I don't think so anymore. I try not to do it, because it is entertaining demons. Anytime that you have thoughts that are coming into your mind that aren't the things that the Bible says, which we'll go over here in a few minutes, those aren't coming from God, and it is an attack on your mind. And the attack on your mind happens so it'll go into your heart, and it'll manifest into your physical. And that's what weight is. It's bondage. It makes you feel trapped. How many people right now feel trapped with your weight? You're having a hard time. That's why we're all here, because it's a bondage. And it's a bondage that Satan uses the same way that he uses for a drug addict. It's the exact same thing, and that's why we're going to treat it the exact same way. So I know that this is, it's weird to come and do some praise and worship at a weight loss class, and it's weird to talk Bible stuff at a weight loss class, but it is so necessary to make this work, because if you walk away from here with a meal plan, and you walk away from here with an exercise plan, I can assure you it'll work for a little bit, but it will fail. And I think anybody that's yo-yoed, in the addictive world, they call it to have a relapse. We call them yo-yos. We had a slip up. They're battling the same thing that we're battling. It's the exact same thing. And so that kind of puts into perspective how hard it is, because I know for me it was really, really hard. I gotta find my place again where I was at. Sorry, guys. All right. The second thing that we're gonna really get. Oh, I didn't read that Good Life version, did I? I need to read that one. That's good. This is the other one. What you say can preserve life or destroy it, so you must accept the consequences of your words. So tonight, I want y'all to just start thinking now of the things that you say, especially about yourself, and the things that you think. Because if you're having those negative thoughts coming into your mind, that is not from God. So we're gonna really watch it. And with those 3 foods that I told y'all, we're gonna write down here in a little bit. When those cravings come up, because on the I'm just gonna call it a lifestyle. On the lifestyle with the meal, the type of foods that I'm gonna ask y'all to start with staying on and sticking around, you will know when you're having these cravings where it's coming from, and it's probably where you can stop and think what's going on in your mind, so that you can cast those things down that set themselves up against God. Because whenever I start getting to a point where I'm feeling just really, I deal with anxiety a lot. One of the reasons why, and everybody that's around me and my mom, I mean, that's something that I've dealt with for a long, long time. And so anytime I start feeling really anxious, I usually want to eat something. And so I can stop and I can go, what was I just thinking about? You know, it's always a tormenting thought whenever I start feeling anxious or start at times when I've just eaten to start feeling hungry again. It's right here. It's right in the mind. And as soon as it goes into the heart and starts coming out of the mouth, that's where we can really, really get in trouble. And that's why I want to talk. The next thing we're gonna spend good time on each one of these subjects. That's why I was saying this is not a 1-week event. If you want this to work, we're gonna have to really work it. And like I said, I always need to work this for me. It makes me have to study. It makes me have to study the Word of God. It makes me have to stay up on my toes too to do this for y'all. And so I'm in it for the long haul. We're going to really go into a whole lesson on how powerful the I am is. Whenever we say I am something, that's powerful. The reason why that's so powerful is because we are summoning up and calling the very presence of God and who He is when we say I am something. And the reason we're doing that is because we are all God breathed. He breathed His Spirit into every man. And the devil wants so bad for you to say I am whatever he's saying in your brain, whatever he's telling you. If he's saying I'm fat, don't say that. Don't think it. I have heard so many people come to me and say, Carrie, I just need so much help. I'm just so fat. And I'm just like, no, don't say that. That is God in you. That's you're saying something. And so we can pray and pray for something different, but then turn right around and claim something, you know, totally opposing to the very prayer that we just made. And so we're going to talk pretty heavily about the I am and how strong that is in the Bible and what the I am means and how important it is that we always put something good behind the I am, a promise of God, something God's given us, something that, you know, the Bible is full of what God thinks we are. He made each one of us individually unique. Think about the billions of people in this world. He made you designed exactly. Psalm says that He made us fearfully and wonderfully made before you were even born in the womb. He already knew you. And so you're here for a purpose, and you're here exactly the way that you are for a reason. And so anytime there's a negative connotation with it, that is the devil. That is the devil coming at you and trying to steal your joy, to steal your hope. And that's one thing I don't want y'all to ever lose is your joy or your hope, because what is the joy of the Lord? Our strength. So he'll try to rob your joy. He'll try to rob your joy and putting on the weight. You know, you put on some weight, put on some pounds, and then all of a sudden you're losing your joy. You don't want to pick out an outfit. You don't want to go to a special event because you don't feel good about it. It's embarrassing. I've been there and done that. And so that's where we're going to watch these little things, but it doesn't happen overnight. I've worked on this for a long, long time. And like I said, I've had as addiction would say, relapse or the yo-yos. I've done it. So, and then next we're going to go into, it's a big one. It's a big one and it's a hard one. We're going to go into what it does to hold unforgiveness in your heart. Because unforgiveness is like poison that you inject into yourself with the expectation of another person dying. And that's one of the reasons why we're going to study in depth the I am. Because the I am, whenever you learn just the deepness of God and how each person is so God-made, and then you get an unforgiveness to a person, let me tell you something, you're not warring against the person. The Bible makes it so clear, we war not against flesh and blood, but principalities and rulers in the heavenly places. They're here to cause division against people, God's people. We're all God's children. They're here to cause division with us, whether it's, you know, in a marriage that you're getting attacked, whether it's with somebody at work that's just driving you crazy, whether it's, you know, a sibling, it doesn't matter. Usually the attacks come from something close, somewhere close around you, somebody that you really care about, somebody you love. A lot of times it's family and a lot of times it's close friends. And that's where you have to remember who this enemy is that wants to keep that division going in your heart, keep that division going in your life, because it can keep attacking you as long as you see it as a person and not a spirit, not a demon. It's a demon. And so when people do things, hurting people hurt people. And that's why we're going to go so much over unforgiveness, because when people are hurting, guess what? They're getting attacked too. And maybe Satan is sitting there nagging them and lying to them, because that's what he is, the father of all lies. So maybe he's sitting there causing deception around to get them riled up, and they're just as riled up as you, and they're using that, but it's not them. This is how Satan operates. He's smooth, he's slick, he's sly, and he'll try to keep anything in your life going so that he can keep you without joy, so that you can't win the battle. When this is the way we fight our battles, this is the way we're going to have to fight our battles. It's a mind battle, and we have to really study these things out and know who our enemy is and know how to fight him. And we have an enemy that's prowling around like a roaring lion waiting for somebody to devour, to get astray and to pull down. So we're going to focus on that a lot. Now the Bible says if you don't forgive, that God won't forgive you. So it's important, and that's actually Matthew 6:15. It's really in there. So you have to get that unforgiveness out of your heart. But we're going to go on, and we're going to learn a little bit about generational curses and how to break them. How many people, I'm going to raise my hand right now, how many people in your family can look back, and in every generation you've got weight issues? To raise a hand. I mean, look at the hands. So Satan will attack in a lot of ways. He'll come through generational curses. He'll come through other people. There's just so many things that have to be broken. That's why it's not an overnight event. We're going to go through word curses. Word curses. How many people have ever, since there's so many people with generational curses, growing up, how many people would hear little things like, you better watch out, everybody else is big, you're going to get big. Anybody have anything like that? That's a word curse. We're going to learn how to break those and how to break them out of your heart too, so that you're not under those. Because I had always been thin my whole life, and my family is pretty healthy. We're all pretty big, and so anyways, growing up, I would see everybody on diets, and I always had in the back of my mind this fear, false evidence appearing real, y'all. I always had this fear that someday I was going to get fat. Satan operates that way. He does. That's why we've got to change our mindsets. We're going to learn about strongholds. And that's a really big one, because Satan will build up strongholds in your life. And that's what happened to me. And I'm fixing to kind of go into my story of how I got big and tell you exactly the way that these strongholds got built up. And it took me 8 years to get rid of those. And honestly, I'm still fighting them just like everybody else now. This is a daily thing. It's in the Bible, Paul says that he has to die to himself daily. I still have to die to myself daily on this, because it can, Satan can slip up so fast to use something, a situation, some stress, an old memory of something, even grief. These little things that he can use to make us find comfort in food. And I'll catch myself with things in my mind, but it's a lot easier now because I know the mindsets. I know how it works. I've done it long enough to stop it in its tracks, and that's what I want y'all to learn too. Probably the biggest one that we're going to go over, and we're going to spend a lot of time on this for anybody that wants to do this journey. We're going to learn, and we're going to go in depth in the study of the armor of God. And it's so important. We're going to go through the Ephesians armor of God. I'm going to take time on each piece of armor, because it is so important for our hearts, our minds, our souls, our spirits to be at peace. We have to do that, because if we don't take care of our mindsets, you're doomed to failure. You'll succeed for a little bit. You will. You can. I know. I did it. I did a lot of diets before I really got to the heart of the matter. Tons of them. I mean, you name it, I probably did it too. So, and I'm sure that all of y'all can relate to that, and it's frustrating. Anyways, Ken, where are we at on time so that I can know?
Oh, my phone's right there.
Anybody know what time it is?
7:53.
7:50. Okay. I don't want to get going too terribly long, so that we have time to do our meal plans, because we're going to have this opportunity at the beginning. I'm going to usually talk for like 30 to 45 minutes just to help with our mindsets, and then when we go into meal plans and exercising, we'll get to that here. Today's going to be a little different just because it's our first week, and I need to get information and stuff for y'all. But I'm going to talk about kind of the strongholds and how they get built up and what happened to me. My everything kind of that happened to me, my attacks in life started in my marriage. And I met my husband whenever I was 14 years old, and he was 16. And so we were together for a long time, and we got married very early. Well, and this is how I kind of figured out the addictive qualities of food, is because he started drinking. And anything that I say, I want y'all to look at him as the I am, that he's a creation of God, because I'm not telling you this to judge him. I'm telling you this so that while I'm telling my story of how the strongholds in my life got built up that made me get overweight, you can start thinking about the things in your life, because they're all going to look a little bit different. We're on the same journey, but everybody's got a little bit of a different story probably. And so yours may be completely and totally different from what happened to me. But whenever he started drinking in the very, very early stages of our marriage, and it would really stress me out. So we've got a little bit of stress going on. You know what that is? It's a demon. And so I had some stress and some anxiety that was connecting onto me. The reason why he was drinking? He always said it was stress and anxiety. So he had the very same demon tormenting him. So it was playing, against us, but it was working subtly. And I didn't realize what it was. There's a lot to, you can have wisdom and knowledge of God's word. I've got that. I've been in church for my whole life. And so I know the word of God. But until you get a real understanding of something, you don't really know what to do with it. And so I was always just under this stress and anxiety, and it would make me want to eat. And so I didn't struggle so bad with the food at first. I had a real fast metabolism. So for the first, several years of my marriage, even after having kids, I could pull the weight back off, and it would be, okay. But then as things, they say that things are progressive in any kind of an addiction, that it's progressive. It's progressive in the mind, and it's progressive physically. Well, isn't it the same with weight? It's progressive in the mind. It starts here, it goes into your heart, and sets in, and then you physically manifest it, and it comes out. It's the same way. They may be walking down the street looking drunk or doing things that you're just like, why did you do that? But ours all kind of stands out a little bit too. We can see our bondage as well. It's just very different. And so there was a tormentor coming in to cause division, and as it went on, I'm gonna get to it. Sorry, I just want to make sure that I don't miss anything here that I really, really wanted to tell y'all. So next, what came with the alcoholism, as it's progressive, it turned into other addictions, like pornography addiction. Well, what does pornography cause? That causes guilt and shame. How did it make me feel? Guilt and shame. So then I get more things added on. So we've got stress, anxiety, guilt, and shame. And then things start changing in the house a little bit because, then it was a stretch to afford alcohol. And so, it wasn't very affordable. So then comes in fear, because there's not going to be enough money to pay all the bills. So this fear starts playing in, and so then we've got another one. And they just keep compiling until the point where you're just so confused, you don't even know where to start to deal with these things. And so as that was progressing, well, so were other things. So this fear thing is a big deal. Fear, anytime that you're in fear, that is not from God. Unless you're in an alley and you've got somebody following you, that's real fear. That's smart fear. That is what you need to be fearful of. But when you get these fears of projecting things, I'm telling you, Satan is tormenting you. I want to tell you how many DUIs I lived through in my life. Probably over 3,000 DUIs, because whenever he would go to work, and again, I don't tell y'all this about him to judge him. I don't want him judged, because we're not supposed to do that anyways, but because he still is very progressed and not doing good. So if anything, pray for him, because he has the same tormentor that I had. It's just in a different way. And so, as this went on, every day, whenever he'd be just a little bit late from work, I would sit and I would start projecting these movies in my head. And I would be thinking, oh my gosh, he's gonna get in, he's gonna crash, everything's gonna get ruined, I'm gonna lose all my finances, I'm not gonna have any money, somebody's gonna get killed, we're gonna be all over the newspaper. And I would project, and I say this is what the tormentor does to us. He will make a movie in our head that we're never, 99.9% of the movies that I made on these DUIs that I went through, nothing happened. Never, we had one. Out of all the 3,000 DUIs, I lived through that many, at least 3,000. And I'm telling you, whenever you get that far, that you've got it in your heart so far that somebody's gonna do that, do whatever it is that you're being tormented with, your body goes through that, your mind goes through that, and your heart goes through that. So all this time that I was going through all of these DUIs, my body was going through every ounce of that stress, every bit of it. And so it was doing all this damage. That does damage to your body. Stress will damage your body. Anxiety will damage your body. It's progressive. It's how Satan works. So anytime that you're feeling these feelings of being uncomfortable in your mind, that's why I want you to stop. And because I wouldn't even know what I was thinking. I was so unaware of what I was thinking that I had these stories going on. None of them were godly. All of them were based in fear, which is the devil. Unless, well, like I said, but they are all satanic thing going on to torment me, to get me attacked, because he wanted to take me out, just like he wants to take you out, and every other God-living being. He hates us, and he knows us, and he knows our weaknesses. That's why we all get attacked in different ways. He'll find out your weakness. He's known it since you were little, and he will find it, and he will torment you as long as you let him. The Satan has a lot of power, but we have authority over that. He only has the amount of power that we give him. And it starts in your mind, and that's where you have to take authority. The Bible says to take those thoughts captive that set themselves up against God. And that's where it's hard, is where you have to locate it and know that it's happening and take that thought down captive that sets itself up against God. Because I'll tell you what, we ended up with only one DUI whenever I was married to him. And that one DUI, God gave me the grace to get through it. Yes, it was bad, but no, it cost us a ton of money, about $25,000. But you know what? It was not anywhere near the projections that Satan was putting in my mind of what was going to happen. I had dead kids smashed on the front of his truck. I had all kinds of things that were just absolutely devastating. And I lived through that, even though it never happened. Never happened. We had the one wreck, and nobody got hurt except him, and he did get hurt pretty bad. But, like I said, God gave us the grace to get through that, and we got through it. So this is the way that our minds get broken down. And this is why you have to really, really focus on what's going on in your mind. I don't want to get too scattered, so I'm going to get to the point of when I gained most of my weight, because I was fighting it, and it would have been like, I might have been probably 15 pounds heavier than what I am now most of the time, and just really fighting to stay down, at a decent weight. When it really, really hit hard was whenever his health was getting kind of bad from the drinking, and he had 2 heart attacks. And so when I went into the hospital and they told me he's gonna die, my body went into shock. And I was already struggling with a lot of things like that stress caused, like insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, yeah. And so whenever that happened, every single system in my body shut down when they said that he was gonna die right there. And I'm gonna tell you, my immediate thought was not to sit down and pray and say, God help. He was gonna die. And I was a single mom of 7 children. And what was I gonna do? And how was I gonna afford it? And how was I gonna take care of all of them? And I mean, everything shut down. All my female system shut down. I had to get all that restarted. But my blood sugar, I went into a solid type 2 diabetes, and I didn't even know it. I just knew that everything was weird on my body, and I gained weight so fast at that point, because whenever stress can get to your blood sugar and stuff like that, and that's what happens, y'all. When it does, then at that point, for me, I would try my hardest to just eat as best as I could, and then my blood sugar would get low, and I'd have to eat something, and I kept eating, and I think within probably 2 months, I was up, I want to say 50 pounds. I mean, it was fast, and then it progressively just kept getting worse and worse and worse until I was almost 300 pounds. And I'm going to tell you what stopped it, where I ended up going, oh my gosh. And I got the reality check. And it was whenever I found myself sitting in Al Anon, which is a 12-step group for addiction. But the Al Anon group is for friends and families of alcoholics. And I started to realize the principles that I want to teach all, because I could see them, and I could see it not just in a 12-step way that they present it, which is an awesome thing, but it woke up the understanding of the Bible and the principles of how I needed to go in and start attacking things and get rid of strongholds. And I worked that program for a long time, and that's where my weight loss journey began. So I'm telling you, it begins in the mind. So that's why we're going to do a bunch of mind stuff. And I hope I'm not forgetting anything real important. Well, if I do, we'll just talk about it in the next section. But I think that, do you know what time it is? Anybody got the time? It's 8:04. Okay, well, we're right on perfect, because the light stays good until even after 9 o'clock. But the next thing we're gonna do, Devin, can you help me? I'm gonna need them, I'm gonna stop with this section just because next week we'll talk about more, as long as y'all are willing to come. How many of y'all wanna continue the program so I know? Okay, good, because it's good, y'all, and I'm just telling you, you will fail. And bring friends back. If you know somebody's struggling, look, if you know somebody's struggling with weight, or even if somebody is struggling with an addiction, bring them. They don't have to say it. Nobody's here to be judging anybody or to not, I want everybody to feel comfortable. Really, I just want everybody to have freedom. Wouldn't that be nice to walk around and just know that everybody's feeling a little more free and just getting some healing? So, okay, let me, hang on just a second. I'm going down real quick. Get these.
I used to be part of Cornerstone Outreach, and I led worship several times up here. Next door? Yeah. That's where I was 15 years. Yeah, when I got the boys, I got moved. It was big. I think so. Difference between, that's an easy way to say it. Is that right? Yeah, I don't care. I never said nothing about anything.
Everybody gets one. One folder for everybody. One folder for everybody.
Well, that too. Actually, we just went to lunch one day and said, I'm done. You done? Yeah, I'm done. Just separate. We just did it. I divided up. She went her way, I went mine. I'm still friends. Whatever you want to call it. Oh, yeah. You know, to tell somebody good news. Good. Yeah, trying to find something that's different. Everyone's about 104 kids. So we have a church.
We need one back here. Are you filming back there?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
like your setup.
Thank you.
Genius. Anybody need a pen?
All right, everybody have one? Y'all ready? Okay, get this sheet out first, this very first sheet. So each week, whenever we come, we're gonna do, during this section, I want us to talk about everything about meal plans. I'm gonna explain to y'all how this works. It's real simple. If I were you, I'd get a binder to put this stuff in, especially so that you can keep your notes, because you're gonna wanna refer back to them. The first thing, go ahead and get your pen handy, because I do want y'all to write down that trigger point of the things that activate dopamine, so that you know whenever you're craving something. So that's sugar, fat, and salt. So write that on your paper in the back. I put some notebook paper in for everybody. Sugar, fat, and salt. Those are the things that I want. It's kind of hard at first, but honestly, whenever you get rid of those things out of your diet and you're not eating a lot of sugar, fat, and salt, and really taking as much of it out as you can, it'll take a couple of weeks to get used to it. But once you're used to it, it's not enjoyable later. It's really not that much. It kind of makes you feel bad, especially sugar. So the reason I'm having y'all write those down is because these meal plans are very low on those, and it's for a reason. And this isn't a medical meal plan, you guys. This is mine. This is something that has worked for me. And so it's not going to compare to anything you're going to find online. So if you're looking for, anything that has something a doctor's done, it's not. This is me that I've put this together because it's effective and it works. But whenever you crave those things, those three things, that's the first thing, and I want y'all to remember, is to stop and see what your mind's doing. Because if it's something, it's usually something. If you're not hungry, and on these meal plans, you should not be hungry. You will not be hungry if you do them properly. And so if you're hungry and you're craving something, you need to check what's going on in your mind and your heart and make sure that you really are needing something, because usually you're not. And if you'll drink a glass I put this on here, lemon water, you guys. That's really important. It's on our sheet that you drink lemon water. You drink it all day as much as you can. It has a lot of really, really healthy benefits. And it'll keep you from having so many cravings too. That's one thing that it does, is appetite control. I'll put some little notes on there about that. But what we're gonna do is, first of all, how many of y'all are wanting to do workouts from home, that you don't necessarily want to go to the gym? Raise a hand. Good. Okay. On the left side under needs, starting next week, I'm gonna, and it is, you know what, I didn't want to work out in the gym at first. It took me a little bit to get the courage to go into the gym when I weighed 300 pounds. It's hard, and that's why I wanted to start this out with an opportunity for that. If there's other people that want to do workouts in the gym, I'm having a website built right now, and I'm going to be putting videos up in gym, so that if you want to go to the gym, it's something that you can get with me about and follow those workouts, because I'll have tons of stuff weekly that you can do, and that way you're able to do it that way too. But for this, what you're going to need, the picture of the dumbbells, I think everybody knows what the dumbbells are. What I want you to do if you're going to be working out from home is get you a set of dumbbells. If 2 sets, if it's affordable. Do a lower set and then a higher set. When I say that, kind of go with what your body is right now, because like all my needs for dumbbells would be a lot different than yours. Usually I'll tell you somewhere between 5 and 10 pounds for beginners is a really, really good way to do everything you need to do. So if you had a 5-pound set of dumbbells and a 10-pound, you'll eventually go up and get some heavier ones, but that'll do it to start you. And then the second thing you're gonna need is gonna be the rubber bands. And I put pictures of them. They're like this. There's different colors that'll come in a set, and it's gonna be different resistances, because there'll be some exercises you'll wanna do really lightweight, and some like for your legs that you think you can, some with your legs that you're gonna wanna do with a heavier resistance. And then, let's do there should be these stretch bands. We'll do these next. Yeah, so the next one is gonna be stretch bands. And there's all different. What are you laughing about, Jenny? Are you laughing at me for being clumsy?
It's your family. It's
Sorry, I thought I was going to start with a set of pantyhose. All right.
Well, it's kind of like looking like pantyhose, but it's not. So these little rubber band sets, we're going to be doing a lot with these. They're really good for like legs whenever you're doing kind of hip abductors and trying to work the outsides of your legs. They're really awesome, because I'm going to teach what we're going to do. And you can come out here comfortably, because I'm going to demonstrate what to do whenever we start that next week, so that you can take it home and do it. If you want to try it here, so you make sure you're doing it right, you can bring something comfortable to do that in. But I mean, we're all struggling with the same thing, so I want y'all to feel just as comfortable as possible.
Where do you get that?
Yes, and that's what I was going to tell y'all, is you can get them in stores like Target or Academy, but the cheapest place to get them, and where I got mine, is Amazon or eBay. They both have it for much cheaper, about half the price. I mean, they're cheap. You can get, these are like $6 on eBay or Amazon. So it's not expensive. And these right here, if you get the set from, these are the cables I want y'all to get, not cables. That's my fault on the thing. Sorry for the typo. The cables that I want y'all to have, they have different resistance on them. So they've got all different types of pulls on them. So it'll be from a lower resistance to a higher resistance. It comes as a set. Now, if you get them from like Academy, and they do have them, they're around $50. But if you look these up and find them on eBay, they're like 14 bucks. So eBay and Amazon, go there, and it should come in time. But if it doesn't, you know, just take time and wait for it, because it'll be worth it when you get it. You know, to not be spending. Yeah, those are the same. Those will go with the bands. So your rubber bands, they look like that. You like the real thick ones, they're going to be your real heavy resistance all the way down. And yeah, and they come in a set usually. And so there'll be a set that it'll say like, usually there'll be like a high, medium, or low strength. If you're beginning, start with low or medium. And if you've been, you know, if you're pretty strong and you work out a lot, even because I was like that for a long time. I was still pretty heavy, but I was really, really strong. So I had to, that's what I liked doing, was a heavy weight, and wanted to get that strength built. So that's what I used. So anyway, but if y'all get those, and if you wanna do it here, like whenever I'm doing it to show you, if you wanna do it with me to make sure you're doing it, the yard is big. And this is, you know, as long as the weather's good, we're gonna have it. And tonight, before everybody leaves, please make sure, I've got a sheet that I've been signing y'all down on. I wanna make sure I have everybody's contact information, so that if we do have something like inclement weather, that we can, you know, let everybody know that it's not gonna be happening that Sunday, so that you don't drive all the way out here and then we don't have it. But for right now, we're on for next Sunday, so. All right, and I know this is what everybody's really wanting to get to, is on the meal plan. So go to the middle section, and I put these on here just kind of, you're gonna wanna get your paper out to take notes so that you'll understand this, okay? So an average female, this is any female, and it's average, you know, our bodies are all different, but the average female will burn 2,000 calories a day if they were in a coma. So if you're laying down on a bed and you have your heart beating and your lungs going and everything moving, it's gonna be around 2,000 calories. So what the goal is to keep your body in a deficit. So we're gonna wanna not go over 2,000 calories at all. Now you're already gonna be in a deficit just living and breathing and moving. So the 2,000 calories is if you're doing nothing. So if you're going around, you're doing work, whatever you do in your day, that's burning calories. So you just don't wanna ever go over 2,000 calories. Now at some point, you know, you might want to move it down a little bit, not a whole lot, because you know, starvation diets are diets that don't work very well either. Fasting diets, I do not believe in those at all. I think that it causes a lot of problems. Fasting is good for prayer and fasting. Don't do it for a diet plan, because what happens is your brain will tell your body that it's starving, and it will not let go of fat. It might for a little bit, but eventually it's going to catch up to you. So don't do the fasting diets. They're not good. And it'll come back with a vengeance. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna up our metabolism, and this is why I was telling y'all that you're not gonna get hungry on this meal plan. I know I've done it for a long time, and it's effective and it works. So I eat anywhere from 4 to 5 times a day. And so what you're gonna do is, and I know that if you're working, this can be hard, and that's why we're gonna have this every week, because we're gonna do a week of meal preps. A lot of times you have to do some meal prepping, so you know, to make it work if you've got a busy life schedule. And whenever I'm just staying on things real tight, especially if I'm getting ready for a bodybuilding show, I'll go on a Sunday and I'll cook all of my food and I'll put it in the freezer and pull it out as I need it, because you're doomed for failure if you don't plan this, because it's a lot of eating and life is busy. So what I'm gonna have y'all doing is lean meats. Now I put a few examples on here. I put the beef, pork, turkey, chicken, and just put an idea of how much it is for 4 ounces. Because what you're gonna do is divide your meals up. So you're gonna take one from the meat category for your meal. Now eggs can go on there too. So eggs you can put in place of doing the 4 ounces, you can switch that out for 2 eggs. Eat the whole egg, the inside and out. A lot of people say it's not healthy, it's gonna do this and that. Eggs are healthy. Eat your eggs if you want eggs to do. And then a protein shake can be supplemented. So it's completely optional. You know, if y'all wanna do it, I put on there, I showed that down in the corner, the Herbalife, that's what I've been using for years and years. I use the Herbalife products because they are very, very good. There's just hundreds of different varieties that you can make, and I mean hundreds of different recipes that you can have on an Herbalife, so you don't ever get tired of them. Because sometimes if you do regular protein shakes, they usually comes in vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry, and they get old and boring, and then you don't want to do it anymore, and it's a lot easier to eat something you shouldn't eat. But with the different Herbalife shakes, they're a little bit higher in price than things, but it's because they're packed with value. I mean, they've got a lot of vitamins in them. They're very healthy. And if anybody's interested, by the way, if anybody has any interest in trying out any Herbalife, I've put together, I'm a distributor, and I've put together some packs that y'all can, they're packs that have, one of them has 2 protein shakes in it, plus a variety of other things like the tea that I gave y'all. That is a really good energy tea. It's refreshing and it makes you feel real good. So if anybody's interested in that, I have the kits. They're $25, and it has the 2 so that you can sample it before you get into buying it. Once, if you decide that you like it and you want to get it, there's different things where you could be a preferred member, and it's much cheaper. But really, any protein drink will fill in for this. Or if you don't want to do protein drinks or you don't like them, you can do the 4th and 5th meal. You just, it's just more that you're going to be putting together, which some days I do that. So it just depends on what you want to do. So let's see. Next, you're going to go to your carb section. And to start this out, and I actually still try to hang out around these things. I'll add, mine is a little bit different now because I've got so much muscle mass built up. And that's one thing I'm going to tell y'all, that, on this deal, 80% of weight loss is what you put in your mouth, and 100% of what you put in your mouth is what goes through your mind. And so with the 80% of this going that way, you still have, the workouts and stuff are still going to be really effective. Any kind of muscle work that you do, and that's why I want us to do the bands and stuff, is because any development of muscle that you do causes you to become a fat burning machine. So the more muscle that you gain, and that's why I love bodybuilding. I love it because it's fun now, but I started out 300 pounds doing it, and it was weird. And then I started falling in love with it. And the more that I did it, the more muscle I made, and the more muscle you make, the more fat you burn, and then you don't have to be quite as hardcore. I can get away with eating differently than somebody that's trying to lose weight, because sometimes I need it more because my muscle just burns through everything that I eat, and I'll get real hungry, and I try to still stay around the principles of this because, protein, this is a high protein meal plan, protein builds muscle. And when you're working out, it's going to build muscle, and then that's going to fight for you. So instead of having something against you, you're going to have something helping you, fighting for you, developing that muscle. Any muscle that you build is going to help you. So when we go down to the carbs, I want y'all to stay around, and I'm telling you, if you'll do this, it will work. I've seen people just melt within 2 to 3 months. You can just see such a big difference. And I said in one of my videos, I don't know if y'all saw that about scales or something I put up on Facebook. I'm not real concerned with weight. I have weight sheets so that we can kind of keep up with our journey, and that's up to you if you want to weigh at the end. Here in a minute when I'm done going over this, I'm going to have Devin start taking people in to weigh. We have a scale that will, what I'm real curious about, what I want to know, what's important to me to know about you is the different amounts of how much fat you have, how much muscle you have, because we're going to watch those things, because I'm going to tell you, I don't want you to be weighing a whole lot, because once we start this high protein and we start working muscle weighs more than fat, but it's a lot more dense. So I want y'all to do measurements, and I put on here on the top that I want you to get a sewing measure tape. And the reason I want y'all to get a sewing measure tape is because that's really where we're going to find out where you're at, is by your measurements. And I've got on the right side under measurements where I want you to measure all different parts of your body. And the next page is going to have the same thing, where you're going to monthly, or I think it's every couple months I put in there, where I want you to do your measurements, because that's where you're going to tell is how your clothes are fitting, and how you're coming down in those measurements is how you're going to tell what your success is, not necessarily the scales. So whenever you first start this, if you're obsessed with scales, because a lot of us do that at first, I don't do that anymore because it can be depressing if you're gaining. Like right now, I'm really working hard to gain muscle because I'm going to go for my bodybuilding pro card. So I've got to blow my legs up a little bit, my arms with muscle. And the reason I've got to blow them up bigger is because I was so big, I have a lot of extra skin. So whenever I start losing muscle, my skin will hang, especially on my legs. And that's where I'm at now, is that I'm doing this journey too. And I'm glad y'all are here because it's keeping me on my toes. I've got to do the same thing. I've really amped my stuff up because I've got to build more, eat more protein, get my legs a little bit bigger so that I can do what I want to do. So it's a different goal, but yours will shift too as we go along, and as your body changes, things will change. But I'll be here and I'll help y'all. You know, as long as you're here, I'll be here and help y'all along with it. But keep up with those measurements, and when you weigh, don't get discouraged if you're following the meal plan properly and you even gain a little bit of weight at first. It's kind of normal because all these things are full of water. You know, we're going to have a lot of vegetables, and it's a different way of eating in the meal shake. So you might at first hold a little more water. So just don't want y'all to pay a whole lot of attention to that if you're staying under the 2,000 calories. Now in your carbs, the 5 carbs that I really want y'all to stick with are going to be your oat, your rice, and that can be white rice, brown rice. It doesn't matter, and I put them on here as what it is for a cup. So what I usually do when I divide these meals up is I'll do 4 ounces of whatever lean meat I'm gonna do, and then do whatever, I'll do half a cup at one meal, and then save it for later, so that if I'm hungrier, because later on in the day after I do my workouts and stuff is when I get hungrier, but I still make sure I get each meal in, because it's gonna, eating all the meals is gonna bump your metabolism up, because your body, your brain is gonna tell your body, I'm getting enough and I'm about to get another one, because it will get used to that, and then you can go ahead and, you know, start letting your weight go, but eat those meals. So it's, what's really a reasonable thing to do is have a breakfast, and then go in, if you're gonna do another meal, do another little meal, or do a protein shake.
Carrie, is that 1 cup per day, but you divide the cup up?
No, I just put the amount of calories for a cup. You can really kind of do it, each meal you need to include, each one of your 3, for sure 3 main meals, include at least one of the carbs, one of the 5. And so you can divide it up like however you're, like if you're hungrier in the later part of I can't eat that much in the morning myself. And so I might eat half a cup in the morning, and then, but what you're trying to do is, these are based on a cup, you're trying to keep your calories for the day under 2,000.
Okay, so all of these top carbs, the rice, oatmeal, all the way down to the pinto beans, this amount of calories are per cup, right?
Right,
Okay.
right. So you'll do the rice, the oatmeal, like for breakfast, you might want to do some eggs and some oatmeal. That's a really good meal. That's a really good breakfast meal that you could do. And what's neat about this is that you can change it up. I just want you to watch your calories and stay under that 2,000 calories, and make sure you're getting multiple meals a day throughout the day. And so, yes, and then you'll do the potatoes, sweet potatoes. Pinto beans, be careful with those. They are really good, but they're higher in calories than everything. So that's where on those, I might go down and just do a half a cup instead of doing a whole cup. It depends on, you know, some of the protein shakes, if you're gonna do, oh, go ahead, Neil.
On the pinto beans,
Well, you can do either way. Just make sure that you look and see what your calories are. If you're gonna fry, make sure, yeah, just look, because different ones, and I would check too, y'all, different things are a little bit different. I did just averages on here to give you a pretty good idea, but you're gonna wanna go and look. If you have a different kind of rice, look and see, and just remember when you're cooking these things, what you're cooking it in, because, you know, a little bit of sauce here and a little bit there and butter and stuff, that can sabotage your whole thing that you're doing. And also, it's not beneficial or helpful with what we're trying to do with our minds, because you're feeding yourself that dopamine that you're needing and that you're wanting. And these first few weeks are gonna be a little bit hard, and you might even feel really drowsy and tired. You'll go through, you probably will feel a little bit drowsy and tired if you're used to a lot of carbohydrates, because you'll get a punch of energy or for sugar, and then it's a crash. And so, go ahead.
On the oatmeal, how would you suggest doing the oatmeal?
Well, you know, you can really, this is why I love this. And when I said that this is really flexible, you can do it however you want to do it. I mean, you can eat whatever different kinds. You just want to look at how the calories are and cook them. You can use I can't believe it's not butter or something like that. You don't want to. Now, I want y'all to eat just a little bit of fats every day. I put them on here, you know, about what it is I put olive oil, but just look at your butter. I want everybody to get in a little bit of fat a day, because your body needs it, but not a lot. So just stay around that number for the amount of fats that you're going to put in. And I just put a few ideas of things that I use, The nuts are easy for me because I can carry them along and eat nuts if I need them. You can use avocado, that's a real healthy fat. But there's you can use any kind that you want to use if you're going to cook with it, or if you're going to eat a potato and you want to use your fat to go on it for a pat of butter, real butter, you want real butter, do that. Just stay around that same amount of calories. And you'll get to add more fats back in later, but we want to get our brains working in the way that they need to, where we're not craving those things. So, and then on veggies, for every meal, and I really should have put a dividing line there for vegetables. On your vegetables, stick around your green vegetables for at least 3 of your meals. And if you're going to do if you're not going to do protein shakes, and you're doing 5 meals, just make sure you're getting a little bit of vegetables in every one, because if you don't, you'll get constipated. I know, I did that. You don't want to do that. And if you do, get some Metamucil fast. Because your body's not used to this. but you're going to want to stick around at first, y'all. And I don't want y'all to feel like everything's getting taken away from you, because it's not. What I want to do is get it to where we're trained that we're not going to be listening to the mind, because our mind will make us crave things that will just cause us to go, when you eat sugar, it'll cause you to get hungry and hungry and hungry, because you'll get crashes and it'll pick you back up. Fish is good. Any meat's good, but really, you want to stay away from the fatty meats. If you're going to do a steak, stick around the ones that are lean, like sirloin. I mean, this is why it's so neat, why this meal plan is so neat. You can really go around with any meals, with any meat. The real fatty ones, like bacon and pepperoni and stuff like that. Now, pork chops are good. Pork chops are lean. So just look at how lean they are. And this is because of the mind. We're wanting to stay as far away as we can from fat, salt, and sugar as much as we can to get us started until we get our mindsets in order. So we'll add those things back in later, but any lean meat is just fine. I'm not really even worried about the fat, because it's going to be so lean. We're doing vegetables, we're doing the low carbs, and so really just if you'll keep up with your calories, if you want to keep up with that, you can keep it up with it. I'm more focused really usually on protein intake, because this is so high in protein, it's going to cause it just causes weight loss. It just does. All right. And then on your vegetables, like I said, if you'll stick around your green vegetables, any of them, Brussels sprouts, green beans, lettuce, anything that's green. If there's other vegetables you can have that aren't green, that aren't real, like tomatoes and stuff like that, it's fine. You just don't want the ones that turn to sugar, like, things turn into sugary that are really high in, like corn. You can do it a little bit, but don't do it a lot, especially to begin with. And we'll add that stuff back in later. But to start with, to get your weight loss really, really going and fast, stick with your green stuff that doesn't turn sugary. Now in fruit, I put fruit on there, and you can have fruit. You're going to do better at first if you don't do a lot of fruit, because it's high in sugar. So if you do fruit, what I want y'all to stick with are berries. Berries are lower, and tomatoes, I mean, that's technically a fruit. Tomatoes, berries, anything that's really low in sugar. The high sugars are going to make you crave more sugar. As you get rid of it out of your body, you'll want more. And it's going to get to where you're not going to be able to tell. And I want y'all to be able to tell the triggers that are setting you off to make you want to overeat. So stick with berries at first if you do it. I usually don't eat too much fruit because, with my past with the blood sugar, and from doing this, it's had me in remission. So I just don't play with sugar too much myself. If I was going to go get a cup of fruit, I would be more apt to go get some strawberries or raspberries or blueberries. I mean, they're good, and they will crave some of or quench some of your cravings. So, and then we kind of went over fats already, because you want to put that in. And so I know that looks real kind of broad on what to do, and it is, and it's good because you can eat out. I know I showed videos the other day of me eating I don't know if y'all saw it, but I was eating some shrimp and fish. I do a lot of fish, like you were asking. I do a ton of fish because it's very, very lean. It doesn't, my Kim's dad's always saying that it's going to cost him because he's always on a diet. I told him he should be here for this, but the fish, it'll save some calories for you because it is so lean. So however lean you go will save you calories on your day. Does that make sense? Does it make sense see all the food? Everybody?
So Gary, are you talking about for each meal, eat the beans, carbs, and then maybe a little fat on each meal?
No, just that, just one time a day. Yeah, you just really, just make sure you get it in every day. You can do it whenever you want. So if you want, like I would do it for a snack a lot of times for nuts, or for a slice of avocado, because it's just good and it'll just give me an extra something. But no, on your main meals, you're gonna pick a meat, you're gonna pick one of the carbs, a vegetable, or you can have a little fruit. Those are interchangeable, but be careful with them. Stay more to the vegetables. Really, it'll make you more successful. And then that's it. So you'll do those, and then your other the best thing to do is 5 meals. And so if you're going to do all of them, divide them up. They'll be a much smaller. If you're going to do 5 full meals, if you're going to do protein shakes, the ones that I use the most of again are I use the Herbalife shakes like crazy, but I also use muscle milk. Muscle milk's real convenient it's good. There's tons of different proteins you can use. I want everybody to succeed, so I want y'all to do whatever's in your budget, whatever you like. I'm not trying to, I want y'all to do whatever is good for you. So you can go to, any GNC and there's different protein shakes that you can get, or you can do, Herbalife if you choose to, or my 2 favorites are Muscle Milk and Herbalife. They're the easiest for me, and I love both of them. They're both good. I can't do Muscle Milk all the time because it only comes in the 3 flavors, chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla, and I'll just get tired of it. When you've done it this many years, you just get tired of it. And so I like to have a variety where you can get a fruity one, or you can get a one that's more chocolatey and switch them back and forth, more vegetable-y. I mean, you can do anything on those. There's so many different shakes with Herbalife that you can make and recipes. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question about protein cookies and protein bars and things like that. Are those comparable to shakes, or am I just talking about really dangerous? Here.
Well, I would wait for a little bit, but they will come in eventually. Right now, because of what we're doing, we're going to stick with this. But yes, actually, that would answer your question, Desi, about the oatmeal, because I use the Herbalife protein, and what I'll do is I make protein balls, and they're really good. And I make those out of peanut butter and oatmeal and the protein that comes with the Herbalife boxes, and some honey, and they're delicious. They're like a no-bake cookie. And so eventually, yes, we're going to add all that stuff back in. This is just temporary, but I want y'all to start with to kind of get your body detoxed, because whenever you've been eating a lot of different crazy carbs and stuff, it's just going to help you to get out of all those cravings, and then we'll start putting a little bit of stuff back in later. Oh, you can use that now. Yeah, use your protein powder. Just watch watch your calories on it. I put on this, the average, like on my protein shakes that I drink, they're usually right around 170. Those are just averages. So if you can get something around that keeps you under your 2,000, you can definitely use the shake. Yeah. Yeah. So any protein, I mean, it can be the ones do what? Well, just be careful with your fruit right now and be sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and that's what, I mean, now, I'm in a different place weight-wise, and so I'll make a lot of mine with fruit, and that'll all come back in. It's all gonna come back, so it'll be a little bit of time, but it'll come back in. And you get those pulled in where you get different fruits. This is just the start. Oh, good, do it, yeah. That's good, just account for it in your protein calories. Yeah, if you're under that too, do it, yeah, that's good. I think that's good, and the more protein that you do with a workout to build muscle, the more muscle you're gonna build. Protein's good. I actually try to eat my weight in protein every day, so right now I'm weighing around 160, and I'll try to eat anywhere from my goal is always 150 to 160, and that's one of the reasons why I make sure that I get the protein drinks in, because they give, on average, it's usually about 32 grams of protein a shake. And so that if I drink 2 of those, I'll usually drink on one in the morning, and then at night when I'm going to bed, I have one by my bed. And that will usually give me about 64 grams of protein a day, and so that helps a lot. You're gonna get a lot of protein on your meats because, and I put on there on average for 4 ounces, it's gonna be around 25 grams of protein. So the more protein you can get, the better. Anybody else?
What about sweeteners, stevia, things like that?
Yeah, stick around the ones like stevia. You know, if you look at some of the ones that like Sweet and Low and stuff that has aspartame in them, just if you look at that stuff and read about it a little bit, it's pretty unhealthy. So stick with the ones that are natural. Stevia is a good one, and it's fun. You can have it done. It doesn't have the calories in it, does it at all? I don't think it does. I don't use them very much, but that was the one that I did use whenever I, was using the. Oh yeah, because me, I love Cokes and I need to drink. I'm thirsty. Sorry. These are really good for energy, and I would get really bad headaches not having Coke because that's my kryptonite. If I could have Coke every morning, which sometimes I still cheat and drink my Coke, and I'm not encouraging y'all to cheat. I'm in a different place than you. I've got a lot. Well, I'm gonna do as I say, not as I do. I'm in a different place. I've got a lot of muscle, and muscle burns fat, and so y'all don't quite have some of the ammunition that I do. Some of you do. Allie's she's a Zumba queen. So, and when we really get into the exercise and stuff, that's one of the things next week we're gonna start going over is finding something you really, really love. Not all of you will love resistance bands or won't love weights, but if you find something that you love, do it, because whatever you do is gonna build muscle. And I want y'all to find an exercise that you love. We're gonna touch on that when we get to the third part of this whole thing, which is your emotional side, because when you work out, it makes endorphins, and they really do help you to get happy. And so if you're exercising, it's gonna help your state of mind, and it's gonna help you fight those things that come at you too, because you'll be in a better mood, because you'll have your natural endorphins working for you. So it's really important to start kind of looking into something, or if you remember something you loved in exercising, I don't care what you do for exercise, I just want you to do it.
On the sweetener, sometimes we use honey a little bit. Is that honey in moderation?
Raw honey.
Raw honey.
Raw honey, use it and right now it's still sugary, and yes, we're gonna add it back in, but I would use as little of it right now as you can, because you don't want to get your crashes in, because it'll make you crave more sugar. The more sugar you have in your body, the more it's gonna make you crave. So at first, while it's already hard to kind of switch all your habits, you don't want something that makes it worse. Does that make sense? Well, Ken has an idea that he says works, and I actually think it does, because it kind of shocks your brains. Tell him.
Drink Dr. Pepper, and my habit was stopping at the store, because I have to have Dr. Pepper and a candy bar. It's good. And I said, I'm gonna get this. I don't like habits, so I'm gonna change it. So I went up to the Dr. Pepper, and I'm gonna get me a Dr. Pepper. Right before I hit the deal, I hit the 7-Up, and I pour myself a 7-Up. My whole brain's going, I don't like 7-Up. I didn't want no 7-Up, so I go to the counter and I pay for a 7-Up. Now all 7 pounds by changing the color of the syrup. And if you mentally, it's all mine. It's all in mine. Go up to the deal right before you pour yourself a Coke. Get orange, whatever color. Some different color than Dr. Pepper or Coke. And then your brain, after a while, your brain is like, you'll have so many leftover 7-Ups in your car, you won't even drink but that much of it. But it was a habit. That's how I broke the habit.
Yeah, and I've had some people that have gone and they'll take and they'll just lessen it each time with, like, do a little bit of diet. I don't think that's very healthy, and so I don't necessarily encourage that. But if you're having a really, really hard time, it'll be a way that you could do it, is to slip into diet drinks. But really, for me, it's been really helpful to just do this tea, because still has caffeine in it, but it doesn't have all the sugar and stuff, because I still want the energy. And I'd use a pre-workout that they have that I put in the tea with it, and it gets me a real good burst of energy. And that's the way I've kind of switched off. But I still struggle with cokes, that's just the truth. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to still do this class, is because, you know, it helps whenever you've got other people to do it with. That's why I had y'all put name tags on, because if you don't know anybody, I was hoping everybody would kind of try to meet people. Because when you're struggling with your minds, I know there's a lot of women of God in here, because I know y'all. And so, you know, when you're struggling in your mind, it's always nice to have somebody else that's going through the same journey. I think Julie already left, but Julie and I have done this journey together. She weighed like 300 pounds too. And we both did our bodybuilding journey together, and we use each other a lot for, you know, I can call her any time of the day, and she'll pray with me in a second. I'll do the same for her. And that's what I hope that everybody in here finds, is somebody, because everybody here is really not, I know all of you, most of y'all, some of y'all you're fairly new to me, but most of you I know. And everybody here is really nice, and I want y'all to be able to, because I won't be able to answer everybody's calls if you're having a real hard time, because there's a lot of you, and I work all week too. So I want to, now if you have questions, I want y'all to send them to me. You can either text me or put them on Facebook, and I will put your question, unless it's just something that's real personal there, or just for females or something, I won't put it up, but I'll put the question up and I'll do an answer. And so then that way it'll go to all of you, because if one of you has it, probably somebody else does too. But yeah, if y'all get to kind of know people around in the group, or at least somebody, you know, somebody that knows somebody that has some support, because that's why I want to do this, you know, with everybody, because you have to have support in this. You know, there's an attack that goes on in the mind, and it's a strong attack, and you just have to have support and help. Well, I guess, does anybody have any other questions right now? No?
I have another one. I use a lot of coconut oil. Is coconut oil a good oil to use, or is there a reason why you've gone with these specific ones?
Those are just examples. You can fill it in for whatever oil. I mean, if it's a healthy oil, it's fine. Just watch your calories on it. Whatever fat you want to use. But yeah, coconut oil is very healthy. So you're not restricted. That's what I love about this. That's why I'm saying this is so flexible. When I go eat, like we went to Wendy's yesterday, we were in a hurry because I had to get this ready up here for everybody, and we had a lot of stuff to do to get things ready, and we went and stopped and got burgers, and I ate me a nice cheeseburger. I just took the bun off, and I'm to the point now, because potatoes are on mine, and I'm not going to encourage fried potatoes right now because that's fat. But again, I'm in a different point than y'all. I'm 13 years into this, and so I was working really hard yesterday, and those weren't going to affect me, and so I had some fries, not all of them, a few. So I ate the meat, and so I got my protein in. I had the vegetables on it, so I got vegetables in, and then I ate a few French fries. So, the bread turns to sugar, and it'll just cause you to get hungry again in 3 hours, 2 hours, and you'll just be wanting to eat everything. So I wouldn't play with it. If you want to be successful at this, follow it, because it works.
So, your drink that you made, it has tea, or what is it exactly?
Well, it's Herbalife tea, so it's just I've got a little thing in there I can show you, and I have samples of these too they're in sample kits that you buy. They're the same price that they have them down at the store. They're $25 for one that's got 2 meals in it, plus it's got collagen. One of the energy drinks that I love that you can try before the gym, it's got a tea in it, and then a flavor enhancer. That's what's in those red, and then aloe vera. The aloe vera, now that's a product that I really like a lot. Aloe vera is really good on the tummy, and it kind of coats it. I don't even put that into this. I just take the shot of aloe vera because it's very healthy for you. But and you can put it in your drink, or I just like to eat them. They have some that are like a mango flavor, and it really is just kind of a nice, refreshing drink. And so, but in the red stuff that's in there, there's no calories. And I think it might be 10 calories per gallon or something like that. It's very low. It's not anything to worry about. But it's just an Herbalife flavor enhancer. And I did raspberry. They've got a lot of different flavors, coconut, lemon, all kinds of stuff. So that's why I was saying there's a lot of variety. And that's why I put that and I use that. It's helped me to stay successful, to have variety. Yeah.
For convenience, can you use that jar of lemon juice?
Oh, yeah. And yeah, lemon juice is good. You can use it. I mean, make those, you don't have to fresh squeeze them. You can use any kind of lemon juice. And it's going to.
Amazon also has some little pockets that's supposed to be dried lemon powder, and I pour those in water.
Oh, that's good. See, and that's why I like.
What about lime?
Lime's fine.
lemon and lime in water tastes like Sprite without the sugar.
Yeah, that's good. That's a real good. But lemon does it. And lime, I mean, they're both healthy, but yeah, that's fine. So anything like that. These are just kind of an idea because, like I said, I want you to have freedom. You know, when you get on diets that are real restrictive, it's hard to stick to them. This one is not hard to stick to. You can eat anywhere. You can go to restaurants and eat. You just have to be careful with what they cook it in. So you want to make sure that you're kind of giving allowance for those calories and watch how much you eat. But, you know, we get into busy days where we're running, and that's why I put up a lot of videos going out to eat at different places where they have different things that you can still eat. You know, like whenever we went, the day I put a video up at Bubba's, we were having salmon, and it had a little side of potatoes and a little side of rice. And it's fine, yes, it's cooked in some heavier oils and stuff like that, but, you know, I'm careful with the amount. I never get a whole meal. Ken and I always split a meal. I can't eat it, I couldn't eat it anyways, that's a lot. Their meals are huge, but just watch your quantities, you know, get around your 4 ounces. They give you about 8 ounces of salmon, and so we just split it.
My fitness pal to plug in your things so that you know your carbs or your fats. The app, like I plug in everything to my fitness pal, it's free, and it tells me my complete macros every time.
Yeah, you can if you want to. I don't do that. It's not something I've ever done. I've heard a lot of people talk about the macros and all that. I don't know anything about that. I really don't. So I'm really picky. This has worked for me, and so I watch my calories and I watch my protein, and that's where the 2 intakes that I'm really particular about on mine. But yeah, if that's something you're used to doing and you want to keep up with those, that's okay.
The weigh-in thing that she's talking about, the weight, you know, it's a scale, it's a special scale that they do to stores and stuff, and it shows your body fat versus your muscle mass. And it tells you, I mean, you just get on it, and it tells you everything about yourself. Kind of shows how old you are.
Yeah, it gives you an idea of how old your body is. I was real excited because mine showed I had the body of a 9-year-old. That made me happy. It takes all your different measurements, and we have it. If anybody does want it, there's sheets in there. And the one that has, if you look in your thing, there's one that's got a lot of information where it asks for a lot of information. If you're comfortable filling that out, I'd be really glad to have that because since we're going to be doing this journey as we go, I want to keep that so that we can keep up with where you're at. And if you get, you know, where you're stuck on a plateau or something, we can adjust things and I'll be able to look at what your habits were, where you're at, where your weight started. And then there's another sheet where we can keep up with, we have the scales for whoever wants to do it. If you're not comfortable doing it, I don't want you to feel pressured to do it. But if you want to do it, we have it. But we'll keep up with them where it'll tell you how much body mass you have in fat, how much you have in muscle. And that's real helpful when you're developing muscle so that you can watch weekly and it'll help you to know where you're at and how good you're doing as you gain more muscle, doing your exercising and eating more protein. So I watch those whenever, especially when I'm getting ready for a show, I will watch real close my muscle because I want to have more muscle mass than fat mass. So, anyways, I think if that's all your questions, whoever wants to come in and do weights. Hey, Devin, are you ready to do weigh-in in the house? Y'all can just come in if you want to. We'll do like 5 people at a time or a couple, and you can just go in and go in the kitchen.
And the restrooms are right through here, and next if you need to.
Yeah, if anybody
What
wants.
you were talking about, was it the wellness profile or the one after that?
Well, the one that has all the, where it's asking for all of your birthday and all that, yeah. That one, if you're comfortable with it, I would like to have that one so that I can keep up with what you're doing. And then if you get stumped somewhere along the ways, I can help you. I've been stumped before, so I can figure out how to get you out of it. So we'll have that for the file to keep up with. And y'all, and if anybody is interested in doing Herbalife, it does help me a lot, especially with things like this and, helping to get, I want to always be able to treat y'all and do stuff. So if you're already doing it through somebody else, I don't ever want to steal anybody's client. It's real bad seed to sow. But if it's something you're interested in and you want to do it, I have all the catalogs and stuff you can look at. But if you want to do protein or if you just want to eat your regular meals, that's fine too. But it's available and I can make it easy on you if you want to do that. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, we'll start going. We'll just take turns and... Oh, I'm just glad you're here. gonna tell you is if you have a spouse that's gonna do this with you, put them on 2,500. Males will be about 2,500. Y'all gonna want a standard 2,500. They burn a little bit more than us. Start with. Bring her.
I'm gonna go pee and wait.
Okay.
Pee first.
Yeah.
Not that it's gonna help.
No. It'll show that you'll lose more if you'll just go ahead and have it. Okay, keep it. And then next time lose it. Before.
That's smart.
It's less extreme than like losing a whole person. Like,
Right now, like I said, we're in our backyard. We haven't had our pool up in 2 years, so she's like, I want that pool up by Wednesday. I'm like, because we're gonna have 100 degrees this summer, so we put a pergola up and put a new fence up. I worked at the bank, so.
He's gonna keep one of those.
Oh,
I don't know where it's coming
I know. But I have one of those, everybody's just